Hi Spicewood kiddos, it's Miss Rayborn here. We are going to do some painting this week. So I gathered together my drawing, that I did last week, inspired by our book all about spots. And I gathered a water, and it's really up to you what you put your water in, just as long as it's something that won't knock over or turn over easily. If you accidentally bump it. I got my paint palette. This was in your art kit from the beginning of the school year. And I got myself a paintbrush. I don't have exactly the one that was in here. I can't seem to find it, but I have a paintbrush, so that's good. And I also have a little napkin so that I can wipe at any mistakes, or if I spill any water, I have a napkin here so that I can take care of that. So I'm going to put these things off to the side and move my painting so that you can see the whole thing. So when I start to paint with these kinds of paints, we've talked about this a little bit before, I need to get my paintbrush wet first. So I have to dip my paintbrush into water before I can tickle the top of my paints. Now notice that I'm not smushing my paintbrush into here. That's really bad for my paints and for my paintbrush as well. I just want to, trying to show you, kind of tickle the top of my paints. I'm being gentle on my paints. That will keep them working well for a lot longer. And I have quite a bit of orange on there, so I'm ready to start to paint. Now the great thing about using crayons and watercolors is that the crayons will resist the oil in the crayons. A little more paint on my paintbrush will resist the water in the watercolors, so they will push away from each other. So notice I painted this orange, but my lines are still black. My outside line is still blue because of the oil that's in the crayon and the water that's in the paintbrush. So if I'm ready to switch to a new color, I would rinse my paintbrush out. I can't just stick it straight into the next color. And then I'm going to get some of this beautiful purple on my paintbrush, and I'm going to just tickle the top again. I think I'm going to paint this big space with that beautiful color. So I'm going to need quite a bit of water to paint in this large space. Every once in a while I have to get a little bit more water on my paintbrush so that I can spread it around. So again, I had some kind of pink lines, and we can still see them because the wax of the crayon is pushing away from the wax, or from the water, pardon me, in the paint. Now I've started to get quite a bit of paint on here, so I'm actually not getting more water on my paintbrush each time. I'm just going back to the paint palette, getting a little more paint on my brush from the water that's already in there, and spreading it around. Sometimes you can have too much water on your paints. So now it's starting to dry out a little bit again. So now I can get a little more water on and spread around. This was a big spot that I was painting in purple. So going around, getting close to filling in that spot. Now when you're painting today, you would want to make sure that you fill up not only your spots, but the background too. So as soon as I finish painting this spot, I'm going to think about, accidentally touched the wrong color. I'm going to think about what color I'd like to make these spots on the outside of my purple spots. So I need to rinse out my paintbrush, and I think I might make them red. So again, I'm just tickling the top of my paints, and I'm painting those in. Every time I feel like I'm running out, I can get a little more paint on my brush. If it starts to feel like I'm not really picking up paint because it's too dry, a little dip in the water will take care of that. Again, just tickling the top of my paints, being really gentle with them. Now we want to paint not only our spots and dots, but also the background as well. So once I finish up painting all of the spots and dots, I'll choose a color to paint my background. So far I'm picking kind of bright colors for my spots and dots, so I might pick something a little bit different so that they will pop out and be very easy to see. That's called contrast, when something is different. So I'm going to move my direction this way and think about some of these spots over here. Maybe some pink next. So I got water on my brush. I'm just tickling the top. Maybe this one will be pink up here. Before I can switch to a new color, because I'm trying to use lots of different colors, I need to rinse my paintbrush so I'm not accidentally mixing. I could even, if I wanted to, look at this, I can make a pattern inside of my spot by making a blue line and then a space. I rinsed my paintbrush out really well, and I'm getting some green, and I'm going to make one stripe blue, then one green, then a blue, and then a green. So I'm creating a pattern with my paints and my colors. I can't forget about way inside of here. I want to be able to see it really well. This beautiful spiral line. And I can still see my green spiral because, like we said, the wax in the crayon pushes away from the water in the watercolors. Now, hopefully you're painting along with me as we go. If you're not, please go ahead and get your things and start painting along. I'm going to continue on with the next one. I think over here, I really enjoyed that red. I think I'm going to make this a little bit more of that red. Now you would continue painting until all of your spots are painted and until your background is painted. So what that means, I'm going to finish painting this little spot right here, and then I'm going to show you, is the space in between the spots. For example, this space out here, right? I want to paint that in a color as well. So I think I might choose yellow. So that would mean this space out here. Now you're going to keep painting until you've finished filling your spots and also you've painted in a background color. I want you to get off to painting for yourself now. So Miss Rayborn will put a picture of my final full painted page on the next page for you to see that I've painted in my background as well. But go ahead and get started. Remember, tips are to dip your paintbrush into the water. Let me show you before you tickle the top of your paints. Next thing is you don't want to smush your paintbrush in here. That's really bad for your paintbrush and for your paints. You want to just tickle the top of your paints. And then you can start to paint and add. I'm working on a background color right now in this space in between. And of course, remember, if you're ready to change colors, you would always need to rinse out your paintbrush first. You can even wipe it if you feel like you need to dry it before you go on to your next color. So go ahead and get started painting on your beautiful spot and dot painting. On the next slide, I'll show you what mine looks like when it's all filled in. I hope you enjoy the rest of your time painting today. And we're not going to turn in anything this week. I want you to just take your time, enjoy painting, and we'll share some artwork in Seesaw next week. So bye for now.